Hello, everybody. This is Tech Stack here as I'm fumbling around with the Stream Deck. Welcome back. Before we get into the topic of the night, I want to take a small diversion, and I want to show this. So, I found a way inside Photoshop to do some magic. Right? So I've made this. It's not exactly what I need for the game. It was a proof of concept for me. I've taken it and basically created all these smart objects, and each smart object is its own thing, right? And then duplicated it, and 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 then made a whole group out of those, and then duplicated that, and duplicated that, and duplicated that. Put some masking over it, stuff like that, right? But what this allows me to do is if I go back down to the bottom one here and edit this one, it opens up in its own little separate image here. Zoom in a bit. And let's say I decide I don't like this color, right? So we'll add, what is it, this one? Hue saturation. Adjustment layer, we'll make it a bit more, say, green. We're gonna save this bad boy. And magic starts happening in the background. Bingo, bango, bango. We're all green. All of it. The whole thing. Because I'm just using the same smart object over and over again. Let's say I want a black spot. Oh, yeah, right there. We'll mask it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. We'll save it. It's going to update all the smart objects. And this wasn't happening earlier where it was this slow, but it could be because I've got so many of them now. But, boom, they have all got a spot in the middle of them. How slick is that? I like it. I might use that concept, right, for making tiles, if I do it myself. And yeah, I know it's kind of hokey in this one, like, well, I have to clean it up, right? But I'm just trying to prove out that, hey, how many smart objects can you really have on something? And can you use them to basically build the whole tile from one individual object in Photoshop? And you can. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it takes into account transformations and stuff. So like this smart object is smaller than this one. Just transformed it in Photoshop. Boom, done. It scales the changes you make too. Anywho, let's get back into Unity, and the idea, it says late night stream. I need to stop. Just leave it at game development or something. With Unity. Game development with Unity. That's what we're doing. Update. Okay, so let's jump over here into Unity itself. So we're on those. Let's go to our dev scene. Let's create a new game object. Wait. Do we need a new game object? No, we don't, do we? So what I'd like to do tonight is create NPCs, right? Those NPCs need to be created basically from these characters, right? Our character sets. So let's grab one of these. Prefabs. Let's see, let's zoom in a bit so we can see these guys a little bit better. Let's go with the blacksmith. Throw him in here. We'll reset his transform. Reset. There he is. And we're going to change out his costume here, basically, right? Because I don't want that to be the default NPC. I want it to look different than that. That wouldn't be a bad equipment top, right? Upper body equipment down. What's that? Let's go for that one. There we go. Equipment body. How does that work? It should be like for this slot, right? It looks like a girl shirt. Okay, let's undo that. So that's that one. Let's try this one. This is probably the appropriate one. There we go. His belt. Let's make him have a modest belt. Just a peasant, right? Hip equipment. Okay, let's go through his hands and stuff. Shoulders, nothing. I don't think we would really want anything on those. We'll try that, see what that looks like. No, we don't want it. It's wrong slot anyway. Yeah. Nope, nope. Left hand, let's see. Male Atlas character. These all just say the same thing. That's a belt. Left and right hands, okay. So it's this one. And then this one for his other hand. I think that chest plate is wrong. Just curious why we put nothing. No, we don't want that. Oh wow. Okay, you dude, you need a hairdo, something. Fierce. Let's try this just to see what it looks like. Not right, because that's the sideways one. Mohawk man. So it looks like there might be just a couple that are the actually appropriate ones. So that's hair down. Down again. This is the tintable ones. Okay, so there's that one. That's gonna be a side, an up, a down, a side, an up, a down, side, and up. Yeah, so we've got this, or this to pick from. Go with this one on him. No, we've only got 2 to pick from. Jeez. Okay. Just looks like there's more because of all the different directions. Yeah, let's give him that haircut. Where's my mouse? And then facial hair. Yep, that's more friendly looking. Eyebrows. It's kind of an angry. That's a good one. Let's go with that one. Does he need a hat? That's for the up, yeah. Let's go with none. And we'll make each one of these guys look different, this idea at least. But for this guy, it's probably good. He's just a base template, right? We'll rename this. Come on, Unity. Respond. I clicked the top map, that's what's wrong. 2, so we'll do NPC default. And we'll go down to prefabs. We'll create a new folder called NPC. NPC. We want this to be an original prefab. We want to go into this prefab then and say update sprites, so it sets it for the other directions. And we should be able to go here, check this one, uncheck that one, and he looks like he's right now. Cool. We need to go here and say set Y order. Layer. Yep, it's got them in there. Do these though. Yep, cool. So we'll need to somehow, let's see, can I just do that? No. Might end up needing to modify the script that either puts this, like this thing, so that it sets the top parent based on whatever you have selected, or the script itself that it gets added so that it will ignore certain tags, and then we put a tag of, you know, like container or something on those container objects, and then those get ignored by it when traversing the tree. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna put a script on this. NPC script. So I view NPCs as non-hostiles in my games. That's just how I do. Let's close this actually and move that script. Gonna recompile stuff. Yeah, did you move it? There we go. So let's add this to the base. There we go. He's gonna need a interactable trigger around him. So we can go and set that up while that's loading up. Save the scene. It's doing something. Save. Okay, let's go into this. Let's set a trigger around him that's decently sized. Add component. Box collider. Trigger. Boom. Let's make it 2 by 2. If you're anywhere inside that, then you can talk to him. Makes sense to me. Let's look at our sign interactable. It's going to have a very similar set of code. Looks like we don't have it open. Okay. Open it up. Basically, we're setting interaction bubble, which is a game object. Interesting. I guess we could do the same. Add an interaction object to him. I forgot I did that. Boom. And then in this, we'll need to get a reference to that.
No.
NPC script. Basically just put that like that. And we won't call it sign text. We'll call it chat text 1. You know, we'll make it an array of chat text. That way, what am I doing? Here, make it an array, string array. That way, if we have multiples, we can pause for each one. I think. And we'll just get rid of this because it's not going to be needed. Set it over here. Go back to NPC default. And there it is. We can grab the interaction bubble. And our sign interaction probably on start is not set at all. Cool. So this means we need to grab this, reset its transform. Okay, so we're going to go to 0.25. And we're going to disable you. Set you in there, yep. That's really all there is to it then. So we take this code. NPC script. Engage. Now obviously we're going to have to modify this because we're going to need to pull not sign text but chat text. And we're going to need to keep track of which piece of the chat that we're currently on. Public float chat active chat section. Equals 0. Oh, int. And then we can say active chat section ++. If active chat section is less than chat text dot length. That's one. So that would be set to 1 by default. So it would 0 would be less than 1, and we go on to the next one, and then it would error off. So we're just going to do it this way. Okay. Else, we'll set it back to 0. There. Should take care of it. Say 1. Oh no, wait, that's not what I want. This. So size 1. This is a test of the chat for a NPC. This is the second page of the chat for this NPC. Save. Hello? What was that sound about? Okay. Oh, we don't start in the right level when we do that. Actually, we gotta put this guy in this game, huh? Let's make sure we've applied everything. Cool. NPC. Where are we gonna put you? For now, let's put you over here. And there's this chat stuff. That should do it. Let's play. So used to hitting test now. I need to not do that. Okay, he's not functioning. But why? Is it because the interaction bubble is somewhere else? It is active right now. So let's bump this up to 5. There we go. This is a test of an NPC. And the second page. And it cycles through. That was stupid simple. Okay, so let's fix his what you call it? This this here. Say 5 by default. So that's set Y. There we go. What else? What else? He's gonna need a lot more interactivity than this, right? But it's a base of it, which is what I was going for tonight. There's gonna need to be certain conditions that'll be checked, right? So maybe we set up some type of callback or something on him. Like he might need to check to see if you have an inventory. Maybe we do that in the buttons. So that GUI that came up the bottom of the screen was the sign GUI. So we need to set up an NPC GUI. And it can behave pretty much the same, but it's going to have buttons at the bottom of it. We'll pass in the max number, the current number, things like that, so we know if there's like a more button we need to display. So let's go back to our dev scene, or always loaded scene. And here is the canvas. Here, or is it the other one? Panel. No, this is it. So this is our sign panel GUI right there. Let's create a brand new one. Call it NPC panel. UI panel. This one's the text on that. Really not much to this. It's on a specific layer. Or our specific tag. NPC UI panel. There we go. Go back to this. We'll select that tag. Got the text. Our background image. Okay. Oh, just the color. Okay, so we'll have it look something like this. To hide that text, move it up a bit. We're gonna put 2 buttons down there. Oh boy. Oop. Okay. I don't know what the buttons are going to do yet, but they're there. If we look at our inventory panel pop-up thing, it's going to have specific buttons on it. There's 5 blue. Let's do yellow and red, I guess. Don't ask me why, I'm just doing it. Don't even know what the buttons should say yet. Oh. Close. That should do that piece good. Okay, and then we've got a controller down here, I believe it is. Menu interactions. Nope. So where does that menu... What is this script? Gonna have some sign text in here, right? Sign. Right, okay, so we're controlling it all through this single script, so we're gonna need another one in here. And it's gonna be the NPC UI panel. We're basically gonna start coding it the same as the other ones, so... We're not gonna find it with the game object, we're gonna set it here in Unity. Come on, compile. Did I not make you public? Did. File errors, maybe? Nope, not seeing any. I bet it's because it's static. So what I'm trying to do is avoid having to look it up because it won't be active by default. There we go. It's because it was static. There we go. So now we've got that set. We don't need to worry about setting it in code. It's set in the inspector. Then in things like close inventory, pause, so that set active to false. Open inventory, we're gonna say this dot set active false. So we're just closing them out as needed. This is display sign text. So now I want to say public static void, and this is where I need it to be static about display NPC text string chat text. If is not, is game paused. First we'll pause. We'll say false to it because it's not showing the pause menu itself. We'll say this dot set active true. And it's airing off because it's not cool. Okay, so it's gotta go back to static if I want this to be static, and I do. Okay, so that means we look it up. Google game object, find game object. With tag. That. Okay. And I believe in close inventory we said we're going to this dot set active false. Oh, we hide it for the next time we show something different. We also need to set it in here. This dot set active false. It's looking for inventory buttons, which is something different. Update code. Don't need to worry about that. Don't need to worry about that yet. Okay, so where is our method where we say display NPC text? Okay. And then we need to do something like this. And this is defined up here as a regular static game object. We can say NPC panel text object. Go back into Unity, set that text object to be this text object here. Once it compiles, sign text does not exist. Oh, chat text. Ooh, do we use callbacks from here back to their original code? Oh, that'd be cool to say when the next thing is occurring. Maybe. And again, I'm pretty tired today, so I might be thinking funny. NPC. Hey, below the stone. How's it going, man? You've got all of the little pictures beside you. Bang. Bang. Haha. Aw. There, I got that one. Forgot I did the combined one. All those pics. Yeah. Okay. So you're into art stuff. Look at this hideousness, but look how awesome it is at the same time. This entire thing is bricks, right? and they're just duplicated smart objects in Photoshop. Watch what happens when I do this. I come down to the very bottom one and open it, and I zoom in here and say I don't like that this thing is here. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna save this now. This smart object, the single object that I edited, the single brick. Once it finishes updating, boom, they're all updated. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. I'm also thinking a template for laying out tile sets would be nice to have. And that template has a bunch of smart objects basically that take and rotate the tile into all the various different positions, right? So you make this corner, this left hand to top corner, and then it just automatically gets rotated in all the different directions. Someone's told me that they efficiency is just clever. Exactly. I don't want to make 6 copies of this thing. I want the computer to make 6 copies of this thing. Why not? But yeah, so like this is one row, and I duplicated the row and shrunk it down, duplicated the row and shrunk it down, duplicated the row and shrunk it down. So I had enough rows to make this up. And then I took that east one, duplicated that whole group, made a north, and rotated it 90 degrees and positioned it right. Put a mask on it so it cuts off this corner. I mean, things like that. And then I duplicated that one. Didn't have to do the mask, it was already there. Just kept going around until I had all 4 of them. Anyway, back to what I was doing. I'm starting to see the limitations of it though, because like if I edit this, it takes 10 seconds, right, for it to update. I imagine if I went to the extreme and actually made this to the size it needs to be, because it needs to be like out to here, then it would be quite slow. So basically I'm making what might be a plan B, might be a plan A, I don't know, for art, right? Trying to learn as I go. This is not right. Okay. Need to, in my NPC script, call the other method instead. Or this one. Or doesn't do anything, close, doesn't do anything. This is not getting set. Cool. NPC display text, it's not set to a reference of an object. What? Oh, I didn't set it for real? Okay. Thought I made that a public. But it's static. Oh, actually, okay. I gotta tag all these separately. This is stupid. Just because they're static. No, they're still here. So I've got the originals that I purchased and then the ones I started making. Yeah, so this is the one I started making. with the color palettes over top of it. So they're here. I haven't thrown this out. I was just testing those. Yeah. Even if I threw them out, I've got everything in GitHub, so I can go back to old versions. It looks good, but it needs a lot of work still, right? Like, if I can get Photoshop to wake up here. Come on. I don't know, just the highlighting is there, it's just not proper. I need to go back and redo it. And then I think I already started on it, but like these lines had perspective taken into account, right? So like this has perspective, right? So it's angled towards the center as it goes down. I was making that with these, and then I realized when I take and rotate that to the top, if it's over here, it's fine. If it's over here, the perspective lines go the wrong direction. And I was like, whoa, hold on. These need to go straight up and down. And if I look at the originals, that's how it is. All these lines are perfectly vertical with respect to where they're at. They're not taking perspective into account. So like this has a straight up and down line, but this has perspective. Right. And it's hard to do when you try and reuse the texture and rotate it around. That's what I was trying to articulate, probably poorly. What I'm thinking is if using this other method of these smart objects, right? If I can take on mine and take the section, probably can't see it very well on the stream, but these dark blue lines that are here for the grid line, that's a 128 by 128 area. Oh, Photoshop still. So I need to take like this and this 128, those two tiles. They can go here, 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 rotate them, move them around, etc. But the ones you purchased, I noticed the bricks get smaller and darker as they go closer to the ground. Yeah, they do. And that's what I was doing with mine as well. It's probably not as obvious. The lines are lighter. Lighter and larger as they go up to the camera. Yep. Yeah, there is a big difference in shading on them. No. So they do have perspective as far as sizing, but the lines are not. There's not some distant point off in the distance that all vertical lines go towards, right? I don't know. This is just one portion of one of these tile sets, right? So it's something for me to test around and see, am I capable of doing it? I might be, but it's going to be so long for me to do it. So this text button here has UI on it. Text box. Get component, text, go, copy this. It's going to compile for a minute and a half. Add. There we go. It's in the wrong spot. Text box. There we go. Save. Now it should be set to a reference of an object, so when we compile it should work. Clear. Play. Start. Okay, it's starting to work. Can we set the... We're getting everything working right. It's not interfering with each other. Go to the different menus just fine. Pause menu comes up even though there's nothing on it. Cool. So now can I set a callback on this for when the NPC text is done? When we exit it, right? Actually, I just need to hook into both of those buttons. But this is a static, that's going to cause problems. It's going to cause problems for that I won't be able to set them from the inspector, which is just easier for setups. I could set a tag on this menu handler. That's probably the way to go. And then get a reference to this object and start setting them from there. Or I can call the proper method so this doesn't have to be static. So inside my NPC script, we say on start. Yeah, we don't have start. Start. Game object. Find game objects with tag. It's called menu handler. Say private game object menu handler. Whoa, wait a second, 1 second. Menu handle, menu interactions. Menu handler. Get component menu interactions. Then we can say that. And now we don't have to set things as statics anymore. So I can do things like set the callbacks on these buttons, hopefully. Come on. On click. Look up a reference of it again. Unity set button on click via script. So we can say just try this. So we'll say it's not gonna be something we can pass in, is it? Okay, so let's do this. Button btn dot on click dot add listener, and this is going to have the definition basically of what I need. Unity action. So we're going to take a Unity action. Unity action cannot be found. Okay, so that means we probably need another import, which is probably events. Using Unity events. Okay, now we can say at the top of this, public serialized field, private button, btn, what's it say, more and close. That's an NPC 1. We're gonna make these generic. I was originally thinking we could name them specific to what they're doing, but we're gonna name them generic because the first button might not always do the same thing for every NPC or every situation or every message, and I want to be able to set those through text calls to this method as well at some point, so that if he gives you a quest and it says, do you accept, yes or no, we can do that type of thing. Okay, so then we can say btn call Unity action, btn call 2. What's it? Button NPC on click dot action add listener. Button call 1. Only problem I have with this is there's no removing of the listener. And we'll need to do that as well. I think you need to tell exactly which listener to remove, though. That's the thing. Because otherwise what's going to happen is that NPC's button listener is going to try to get called again, and we might be somewhere else in the world, and that NPC is no longer valid, and it's going to be broken. Add listener. Buttons can have multiple listeners. Okay. Do we add a listener that's basically listens for the button click and removes the other listeners? Maybe. No. Public void remove NPC. Listen. Unity action. Boom. And then we'll just say remove. We'll just need to figure out when to call this method then. We'll try it. I'm not sure how it's gonna work. And where's our NPC script here? We need to do using Unity engine USING Unity engine. Ha! It automatically removed it. That's funny. Unity action. B10.1. So this actually needs to be called in a slightly different way then. We need to specify what the action is. Like that, right? So public void open next, call it. And it's just gonna call this again. I don't know if I can do that. Nope. Just dummy one, right? Close. Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Can I convert from void to Unity engine? Really? There we go. Let's try it. It might be horribly broken. Okay, more. Doesn't do anything. Close. Doesn't do anything. Pay. Let's pause this for a second. Event system. No, it's on the buttons. It's empty. It's empty. But I don't know for sure that they show up when you do it that way.
Baby, I will show you how you can catch my vibe. And right away, got so much time looping in the blurry lights. Get in my way now, don't
Trying to think of other ways I could do this. Make sure it didn't work. Nope. Not that level. Oh, it doesn't like it. It's airing off. That's useful. Null pointer reference. Odd reference is not set to an instance of an object. Oh, really? Did I not set the second button? Well, that would do it. I didn't set either one. Ha! It's working. Okay, so now if I look at the button code, camera, canvas, panel, NPC, button, it still says empty. That's okay. But the button did a thing. It specifically did. Oop. This thing. And we just need to put this in here and it will cycle through. And we can say public void null call so if it's less, we'll do this. If it's basically our last one, null call. So it stays on the last one. Not sure I'm going to stick with this, but it's an interesting learning experience for me. More. It is going back and forth still. Okay. And compile that, whatever that change was that I didn't know I made. And be forever broken. So I don't think I have one that removes the sign from visibility, or the NPC. We could just call unpause in the second one. So let's try that NPC script. On close is going to say menu. Okay. See if the close button actually closes. It does. Yeah, let's just give this game an actual play run. We've got a good start on the NPC stuff. Not sure I'm gonna keep it that way because the button stuff seems. I mean, it works. Don't get me wrong. It's just sketchy in my mind. Doesn't feel solid, like a solid solution. That makes no sense. Cool. Whoa. I only got a couple hearts left here, guys. There we go. I kill these two to open that door. Crap. No! Gotcha. Okay, then we got the traps. Over there. Got him. Oh yeah. So this is like a spike trap. If I hit it, it's gonna probably pretty much kill me. And you can see there's these flaming arrow traps as well. When you walk basically in line with them, they start shooting. I go over here, I've got a puzzle up here. This one's, the puzzle's set, right? Like, this type of thing is how it's gonna work. Basically, you have to push them in the right order. If you don't, you get stuck. So that's one, and then you go through this door, and it's gonna let me walk off, right? Off of the world, but normally it would take you to another level. And eventually you'd work your way around over to this one. That's why I'm just walking around the outside. And then I can push this out of the way and this out of the way. And that takes me to here. And this takes me outside the dungeon, but in a different spot. If you remember, the dungeon has like an upper layer that you can walk around. There's going to be something hidden up there. And then when you come back in, you have to come down this way and put these in a certain order to get out. So that's what that's about. Basically, on this, if you run right for the chest, this is going to kill you. Or hit you at least. Because if you're down close to the skull on the wall, it will hit you. If you're down here, you can outrun it. And you can't outrun those, time it right. So then I open the chest, get whatever's in the chest, and blah blah blah. But I died. So adding those two traps was pretty fun last night. I've got a working-ish NPC system. I kind of need the rest of the items in to do more with it, because like when you get the scorpion tail and talk to a specific NPC, it's going to check to see if you have that item and then do a different message than if you don't have that item, right? So basically the quest type, starting a quest system almost. So if you don't have it, he's going to suggest you go get it, and once you have it, he's going to be like, oh, give that to me, I'll do something with it, right? Kind of thing. And then give you something in return, or do some action and come back later and give you something in return. I don't know. It's nothing. I need to figure out how that all is going to work, like the timing and mechanics behind the scenes to the storyline behind that, right? Got the framework there, though, with this placeholder text with 2 buttons. Yeah, it needs more story. It's starting to be a hold back for me. I mean, I've got pieces of the story, but the details of the story, like when you give the wizard the scorpion tail, is he going to give you the item back immediately? Are you going to have to go off and do something else while he brews it? I don't know. Coding wise, it's obviously easiest if you have it, he gives you this kind of thing. If I have to do it the other way, and like you got to come back later, then what's defined later, right? Is it minutes? Is it taking some other action in the story, then coming back to him and he's done with it? That type of stuff. If it's minutes, what happens if the player just pauses it and walks away? I also have the part of the story to do, like, the black screen and reappear. Oh, I get what you're saying. That makes sense. That's actually pretty easy for me to do too, because I've got that already coded basically. It's like if I go and play the game and go straight up, when you leave this level, it fades to black and then fades back out. So long to walk up here. It faded to black and fades out. Yeah, so I was thinking you've already have an effect for it, and that's not too crazy. Let's just let the player know that some time lapse. Exactly. Which to me says there needs to be more callbacks on the NPC or whatever to trigger events like that to happen. So maybe I need to use my whiteboard and whiteboard a lot out at some point. How that's gonna work. Like what events should take place or be possible to take place. And then like the touch points for different events. Need to whiteboard it out to flowchart it out. So you talk to NPC. NPC has a long wall of text you have to read, and it may or may not be the last one. Yeah, I was real excited when I got my whiteboard, but I don't use it as much as I thought it would. I usually just sit there and think, and then I can figure it out in my head. And that's how I've done it for so many years. It's a long wall of text. You either need to continue the wall of text or not. And that could be way easier than how I have it now. So right now I'm passing over just the one wall of text. I could pass over all of the walls of text that he could possibly say to the menu system. And it recognizes that there's multiples and says continue. You hit continue, it flips on to the next page. There's no callback to the NPC then, it all relied on the menu system. That works for me. And then I need to only have the callback when the player closes the menu. I need some notification that says I'm done with this menu back to the NPC, so the NPC could do the check of, do you have this item? Do the fade to black if you do, and then give you another item and maybe say something else. So it needs to be a two-way street. My fear is if I have two NPCs, what happens? So I think these listeners are getting added but not taken away. I wonder if I can enumerate the listeners. Let's take a look at that. I can, then I can figure this out. And I can ease my brain if it's going to be a problem or not. So btn npc1.onClick.list. There's a remove all listeners though. That would work for me. I just call that up front, and then it's guaranteed the last NPC's crap is cleared out. I still don't need two of them. I only need one. But I think the other method that I was describing is better. So I say this is a string array. That. Maybe. Then I have to keep track of which line we're on, blah, blah, blah. In here. So which means I would need to cache that string array for this game object. Yeah, I think I'm gonna probably end up doing that, but I think tonight I'm going to end the stream because I'm extremely tired tonight for some reason. And I need to spend some time thinking on it to make sure I don't have like a third method that's better than what I'm thinking of right now. I like that there's remove listeners. That's, in fact, let's test that one more time. Just to make sure it doesn't error off if you don't have a listener on it. Because if you do, then that's not going to work at all. Unless I can get a list of the listeners to know if I need to remove one. No error. Awesome. Cool. Yep, okay. Is there anybody we should raid? I don't know who is streaming tonight. Yeah, well, it's mostly I need to sleep, but thinking will help too. Let's see. Leyland's streaming. Let's do Leyland. What a waste of time. Okay, thanks for stopping by. I'm sorry I'm not very energetic tonight. But, like I said, I'm really tired. Catch you next time. Bye.